He got the shot off. And the Blazers win the series. Durant, the scoring champ from the top against Marion. Durant, pull-up jumper up the rim.
This is the Limitless Range podcast. I am your host, Corey Chandler. I'm sitting down with my co-host, as usual, Petey Podlow.
What's up, what's up?
Also sitting down in the room with our producer, Dougie Fresh. As usual, you can get to us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at One Limitless Range. You can also get to our website directly, limitlessrangepodcast.com, or you can reach us by phone at 360-356-1699. All right, another pod, another day. What's going on, fellas? PD Podlow, how's your week going, man? I guess it's been 2 weeks. How's your 2 weeks been, dude?
It's good, man. It's good. Just chilling, you know?
Yeah?
Just working out, same old stuff.
Right on. Still drinking that lemon water?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Dougie Fresh, what about you, my man?
Oh, same. Yeah.
Watching
basketball.
Bought a new whip from work.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Working on the new house.
Got a car for $250.
Ballin'.
It's just as nice as you'd think.
That's what's up. Heck yeah. Dope. Right on. Well, what do we got cracking today? I know my Blazers are gone. Pete's KD still ain't back. Your Lakers still aren't in the playoffs.
Just let Doug talk the whole shit.
So yeah, what's on the docket for today, Dougie Fresh?
Well, of course, as we're recording, we'll talk about the upcoming finals matchup coming up on Thursday.
Boo.
But just last night, the Raptors punched their ticket to their first NBA Finals ever, defeating the Bucks in a pretty great game, 6. So and yeah, it's going to be Kawhi and the Raptors versus the Warriors, KD or no KD, Steph Curry and the Warriors, I guess, huh, Pete? For at least for a little bit.
That is crazy.
So you, what do you think? Did anything after that win change your mind about the Raptors last night, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things. I wasn't really a Toronto believer. I'll be the first to admit it. Some of Kawhi's games just it looks slower, you know, but he's balling. He's balling out of his mind, and it's kind of fun to watch, you know. I can admit it. And I've never been a Kawhi hater, so I mean, I just, you know, he's not like one of my favorite players, but he's definitely a really good player, and I've always respected his game. I'm curious to see if he could be the best player on the court.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's important. If you want to beat the Warriors, you can't do it unless you have the best player on the court. You know, like,
which is hard to do against the Warriors.
It is.
Sometimes they have
really
2 to 3
players.
best players on the court.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I mean, Kawhi Leonard's gonna have to be the best player on the court. He's gonna need some support. You know, if their bench can outplay Warriors bench, that'll be a huge factor. You know, getting those points when everyone's kind of taking their breathers. And I don't know. I kind of like. I feel like Kyle Lowry will have a good series, you know, because he's going to have most likely Steph guarding him.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a little pit bull and he's aggressive at times. So I feel like you get that little tinier defender on him, he can have a bigger impact than normal.
There were a few times in Game 6 last night when suddenly Kyle Lowry would just break out in the open court, just running.
Dude,
downhill.
I find myself wanting to root for him because so many people hate him.
Right.
You ever just have a player like that? It's like,
well, he's had some bad.
He's had some duds
memories,
but you know, there's so much hate on him, and he just seems like a cool, down to earth dude. And I'm just like, I find myself rooting for him. You know, like when he has a good game, I'm like, hell yeah, nice.
I think one of the big things with Kyle Lowry is the fact that he's got put on this basically like pedestal that really he shouldn't be on, right? Like being in the Eastern Conference, like if he was put in the West, he wouldn't be known as like, you know, supposedly he's supposed to be one of the top guards in the league or, you know, making the All-Star game all the time and stuff like that. Like if you really look at who Kyle Lowry is, he's like shorter than most guards. He's like chunky. He's like not the quickest, right? he does a lot of things that you can't really like quantify, like diving on the floor and the hustle plays and the things that, you know, both
Defense,
Pete and I really
too,
like,
yeah.
you know, just defensively, and he does a lot of those things. But like we expect, because in the regular season, right, when defenses aren't all up in your grill and they're not game plan against you, you can drop 20 plus points a game, right? There's a lot of guys that drop 20 plus points in the game in the regular season that can't get there in the playoffs, you know, and I think Kyle Lowry is just one of those guys. So it's like we all expect that he's going to give us these regular season performances, but it's like, dude, he's playing against the best of the best now. He's getting locked up defensively, and it's just like, that's just not his game. He's not the type of dude that's going to be like some of these other guards where he's just going to drop 35 for you. He's going to drop 40, whatever, do these things. But he does a lot of the little things that like just don't get noticed, right? So I think that's the toughest thing for Kyle Lowry. He's always living in that like all-star guard shadow that he just, in the postseason, is just, I just don't think that's going to be him. But he does a lot of great things that helps his team, and he's shown that in this series, I thought.
That's a good point.
Yeah, he's a streaky player.
For sure.
You know, like he's the epitome of streaky.
Yeah, he had
even during
0
the regular
points
season
a few games ago.
Even during the regular season, he'd have stretches where like, dude, what a steal! Who got Kyle Lowry?
Right.
And then like 2 weeks later, we're like, who got Kyle Lowry? This guy stinks, dude.
Suddenly Dan's just trying to offload him as hard as he can.
Bro, he's so streaky, right? And like even in the playoffs, it's the same thing. It's like, this guy sucks, and then like he'll have a stretch of 3 games where you're like, damn, he carried them that game. And like, you know, the series they won against Philly, dude, he had 2 big offensive rebounds that he kicked out to Kawhi Leonard for 3 that won him a game.
For sure.
Without those rebounds, they wouldn't have won. You know, and I think he had a good game that game too. He had like 17 points. So it was like you said, it's one of the little things that people don't notice. The offensive rebounds there from a guard. You know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, he's been solid.
I'm excited to see it, man. You got Siakam. I feel like he's finally going to have a series where he's going to be able to actually be a focal point player, because the attention's going to be on the other guys. You know, the Warriors like to put their best defenders on the ball handlers, and they like to hide Curry on the guy standing in the corner. Well, the guy standing in the corner is Siakam.
Yeah.
So they try to hide Curry on him. That's a big deal. Now, now his impact's way more. Running in for offensive rebounds, cutting, taking Curry himself.
Yeah, if they get some
have a good
switches,
series.
he'll just bulldoze Curry, that's for sure.
Well, he might have Curry on him on the gate. So just hit him from the corner and let him go to work.
Yeah.
You know? Because Curry usually guards the guy standing in the corner. Right? Isn't that what he usually does?
Yeah, somewhat either the guy in the corner or...
Because he doesn't like to guard ball handlers.
Yeah.
So
Probably guard... That's gonna be interesting.
it'll be interesting, yeah, because he's either got to guard Kyle Lowry,
He's going to guard like Danny Green.
Danny Green, or Siakam. But Danny Green likes to move around a lot. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the matchup for sure.
I'm curious. You know, it's tough, man. The guy that when I was talking to people about Portland, you know, I was liking Portland, but I told
Rip City.
I told the guy, I was like, the guy I can't quantify right now is Draymond Green. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I just don't, you know. Because I was picking Portland's backcourt over Golden State. I was obviously wrong about that. But I couldn't quantify Draymond's impact. I was like, man, if he plays like, you know, great Draymond, then they're so hard to beat, you know.
Yeah.
That's the biggest
definitely.
problem, in my opinion. Because nobody else has that. Nobody else has a playmaking, defensive player of the year, small forward, power forward, center, could guard any position 1 through 5, and is pushing the ball like crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody really has that. So.
Well, yeah, and then on the other end, I mean, we're talking about how they're going to guard Toronto. Toronto's defense is really pretty marvelous. It's amazing, and it really won them this series. What do you think? I mean, what can they possibly do to guard the Warriors, though? I mean, that's a trouble for everyone. And it was supposed to be trouble guarding the Bucks. I mean, but they ran them off the 3-point line. They kept their attempts way down. And if you're just talking regulation, you know, not including the overtime, they held the Bucks to less than 100 points in regulation 3 times in this series.
For
I mean, it's pretty legit.
Well, Pete studies the Warriors obviously more than I do probably, so he can break down the X's and O's. One thing that I think is going to be massive that Portland did a horrible job at is not turning over the ball, and allowing poor offensive possessions to turn into great offensive possessions for Golden State. And that's a lot of the things that Portland did is Dame turned over the ball by driving and kicking and doing a lot of those things where it's like, damn, now you got Draymond running, 2v1, 3v2s and doing a lot of that stuff. And when you allow Draymond and guys like that to do that, it's like that team is unstoppable. So I think if Toronto is going to be effective, a big part of it is going to be limiting those turnovers. So, Kawhi's been great, and so it'll be interesting to see if they're able to do that. What do you think, Pete? I know you're a bigger X's and O's types of dude. What do you think Toronto should do to slow this team down?
Well, I think that they might have to start Ibaka if they. Well, it really just depends if Bogut, if Golden State goes small. The nice thing about Toronto is they're one of the one teams that can go small with them athletically.
Right.
You put Ibaka at the 5,
right?
Yeah.
And now you have 1 through 5 that can switch. No, they got no weakness because even Kyle Lowry is a pit bull.
Yeah.
He's known as a good defender, so they could switch 1 through 5, which most teams couldn't. You know what I mean? The Rockets couldn't. Portland couldn't, right? Because you had Canner or somebody that you could take advantage of. And now I'm thinking that could be to their advantage. If they run that lineup. Ibaka can stay with Curry. He's not. I'm not saying that that's the matchup you want, but out of all the bigs, Ibaka's pretty good at making up.
Sure.
So you start Danny Green then on Steph and let Danny Green just bang around with Steph, or do you let Kyle Lowry chase him down?
I probably would. That the nice thing is what if okay? So if I'm the coach, is what I'm doing right here. I say okay. Danny Green could start on Steph, right? Mm-hmm. Put Kyle Lowry on Clay, or you can even vice versa, whatever. Like you said, they're going to be running around through screens. Switch everything.
Yeah.
Switch everything.
Nope.
The problem is with Gasol, that becomes an issue,
Right?
Because now they're going to work the switch until they get Curry on Gasol. He's going to break his ankles and shoot threes or whatever,
Yeah.
But with Ibaka, dude, the Thunder, when the Thunder played the Warriors, the second best player was Ibaka. Seriously, he was. It was KD, then Ibaka. Westbrook was trash.
The triple-double machine?
Yeah. I just remember watching those series and being like, oh my God, bro, I need Ibaka to hit this corner 3. There's nobody else that can do anything. And they're triple teaming KD. Somebody help him, please. Ibaka's impact will be huge, bro. I'm really excited to see it. Obviously, I want a good series either way. Mm-hmm. Whoever wins, whatever. I just hope it's not something stupid where the Warriors win in 4, or even Toronto would win in 4 or 5. I don't want that. I just want a good, compelling series. And
yeah,
I don't know. Toronto winning in 4 would be pretty compelling. I don't think anyone is expecting that at all.
I guess you're right, but I wouldn't really enjoy it. I want to see some drop in 4.
More games, the better.
For sure.
7 would be dope.
Well, what about maybe the return of, we'll talk about KD coming up here too, of course, but who could be making a comeback at some point in the series is DeMarcus Cousins, which could completely change things depending on how he gets played by the Warriors. What would be the response then? Or what do you think that's going to happen? You can't, if he's healthy, you can't just not play this guy. It was a big pickup.
To me, I personally think he's a dude that you bring off the bench and you play limited minutes with him and you allow him to hopefully, dominate the bench game. And I just don't think you can put him in your starting lineup. I feel like, a lot of people look at just stars and think okay, if you just have 4 or 5 stars, you're going to win. But people forget how much chemistry matters. And I feel like, especially with all this talk without KD and what the old Warriors basketball is able to accomplish and all this stuff, it's you got to continue to roll that out, in my opinion. They're more focused than they've ever been. They're doing their old stuff. If you bring Cousins into the mix, I feel like it's going to throw off what they've been doing lately. And I personally don't think that's a good idea. I wouldn't start Cousins.
Well, regardless, do you think it'll happen?
Do I think he'll play?
Yeah.
I personally don't. I don't know why. I think it's just storylines and talk and conversations. I just don't think I don't know. I feel bad for Cousins, man, especially if they win. It's like this dude's been such a beast for a long time, and this is the way like you finally get your first ring.
Yeah,
like he ends up playing like 3 minutes in Game 6, and they win a championship or something like that. Would just be so anticlimactic for a great superstar to get a ring.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Pete? You think they should roll with Cousins or?
It's tough. I just don't know what version you're gonna get.
Well, plus,
Coming off the injury.
Because you were talking about starting Ibaka. That's kind of why I wanted to ask you about it, too. Because it's like, well, then suddenly if Cousins comes back and they feel like they have to start him or whatever, they bring him in, then Toronto, immediately is playing Gasol on him and stuff?
Or,
you start
and
Gasol
it totally
for sure.
changes the game, right?
Yeah. The nice thing is Toronto has multiple lineups they can throw at the Warriors to play any style that they want to play. Mm-hmm. So like sometimes the Warriors will run small ball and that'll be a huge advantage for them where they're pushing the tempo and the bigs can't keep up. And now I don't think they'll have that big of advantage in terms of that. The small ball lineup won't be as big of an advantage against Toronto. They have the personnel to match up, which will be interesting. I'm excited to see it, man. Just like I feel like Curry's going to have a much tougher time because when you can switch all screens, it's so much different. It is. It just is. You waste way less energy, because you're switching screens. Dame fighting through those screens, it's because he knew that Kanter couldn't guard Curry.
Yeah.
So he's trying his hardest. Like, I got to get through this thing, dude. I can't let Kanter get matched up with him one-on-one, so he's getting knocked down. Or whoever, was fighting through those screens. The reason why they do that, you do that because you know your teammate can't guard the guy. Yeah. But when you believe, Ibaka's got this, I'm not going to waste the energy and try to push through this screen. That, collectively as a team, they're going to save a lot more energy, if they're switching all screens. Oh. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, Portland definitely tried it after Game 2. I mean, they switched all screens after Game 2, but I feel like... I agree. You have to switch all screens, but it also
they didn't have the personnel.
No, I'm saying they didn't have the personnel.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm saying that Dame was fighting through those screens because he knew, oh shit, this is Kanter.
But I'm saying after but I'm saying after Game 2 they didn't play Kanter.
No.
So what I'm saying is,
but I mean,
the first two games for sure, it was ridiculous.
None of those bigs are good at guarding Curry.
No, for sure.
Yeah. Zach Collins can't guard Curry.
Yeah.
Leonard can't guard Curry. So yeah, I'm using Kanter as an example, but my bad. I'll say the Portland bigs couldn't keep up with Curry.
I get what you're saying.
So they didn't have the personnel to run small. They didn't. That's the facts.
Right.
Everyone can blame Kanter all you want. I've seen Zach Collins a million times stay under the screen and give up a 3-2. Because he's trying to sit around the rim.
That shit was so embarrassing.
So it's just, I just feel like
our bigs are retarded. That shit is like obvious shit. But
and you're right. There's
so stupid.
Maybe you guys went to the game plan of switching, but just because you go to the game plan of switching doesn't mean you have the personnel to switch.
Right.
You could say let's switch everything, but then you can get your teammate on an island. Yeah. It's the reason why people were saying that the Warriors were better without Cousins. Remember? Because it was like, the Rockets are just going to get DeMarcus Cousins because they switch everything. The Rockets are just going to get DeMarcus Cousins one-on-one with Harden, and he's going to keep attacking him.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem when you switch everything and you don't have 5 guys that can guard 1 through 5.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
for sure,
I'm curious to see what it looks like. I don't know, man. I've been doubting Toronto like crazy, and just watching the way they played against Milwaukee, proving me wrong. They're starting to make me a believer.
Yeah.
I was really impressed. I was blown away with just Kawhi Leonard's play. Man, it's been fucking amazing, and I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what they do against the Warriors. Obviously, I think it's close. Both teams are really close. I think it's closer than people think because a lot of people have the Warriors. Like if I had to guess this series, it'd probably be like Warriors in 7, maybe something like that. But to me, that's a close series that could go either way.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, Corey might think that it's the Warriors in 4, right? And if it goes 7 and the Warriors win, he's like, I told you the Warriors won. But who had a better feel of the series? It's tough. It's like, it's always tough. It's
for sure.
Well, what do you think, Corey? What do you think? What's your prediction for the series?
Man, yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard. I still think the Warriors are better than Toronto for sure. I think it's tough because I don't know when KD's coming back too, right? Because you give me KD, like I think they mop him up sooner. But I think without KD, I think it.
Yeah, I think this whole.
You're talking about without KD kind of predictions.
Okay. Yeah. They got KD. I think it's over.
Because there's no way KD's sitting out for 7 games. Like
I don't know, man. They said he's still
There's
walking
the
with
rumors,
a limp.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn,
So-
that it's worse than expected.
that's so fucking shitty, dude.
He might
First
have
of all,
played his last game as a Warrior.
that's first of all, that's just so crappy for KD what happened. But yeah. So if we're just taking KD out of the equation, I'm gonna say, I'll say Warriors in 6.
Mm-hmm.
Warriors win Game 6 back at home. I don't know why I always like picking a team winning like on their home floor. So a lot of times I'll pick like 6 or 7, depending on you know who has home court. It's kind
I
of
hear that.
So I think Warriors in 6.
It could be
But
pretty
Kawhi
important.
is, man. I mean, I got to give props to Kawhi. I've been one of the biggest haters of him. I don't like his style. I'm not really a fan of the dude. I'm not really a fan of his antics and just sits out and all that bullshit we've talked about several times. Just not really a fan of that type of dude. I'm just not. And then his game is not like the most exciting to watch, as Pete touched on earlier. It's, you know, kind of that slow, like combination of like Doncic and like Dirk or something, where it's just like kind of slow and awkward. Where you're like, this isn't really like flashy,
even more
but
robotic.
it's like. Yeah, but even more robotic, right? Where you're like, is this like? I even texted the guys the other day. I'm like, is this guy hurt? Like, he's limping, right? Like, he's got this weird like limp hobble. You're like, this guy like doesn't even look like he should be athletic. But I mean, I do got to give him props, man. I hate to take away from anybody that gets to this stage, man. You got to give him props for what he's accomplished, especially good. I mean, Toronto's first time in the finals. I mean, it's just really cool. We all see what Toronto does and their fans, and you know Drake going crazy, and then even outside the stadium. I mean that fan base, you know, has deserved a moment like this, you know, and they've been going through these moments where they keep thinking it might happen, and they've obviously got smacked by LeBron and to freezing up and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I got to give it to Kawhi and that fan base, man. It's
biggest
cool.
thing too is like it's who he played too. You know, he beat Philly, he beat Milwaukee,
right?
A consensus team that a lot of people thought was going to the finals. It's not like the LeBron run last year where he beat the Pacers and you know, got lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how lucky he got. LeBron didn't have to face Philly or Milwaukee.
Yeah, and then he
You know, those are the teams with the
went
superstars.
7 with the Boston with its stars were injured.
Yeah. So I mean, he beat some really good teams, man. I mean, Philly looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I mean, you could argue Philly's better than Milwaukee, right? They pushed them 7.
Yeah, they gave him a better challenge.
They gave him a way better challenge than Milwaukee did. That shit was a game of inches that it could have been Philly, you know?
Yeah.
A couple of missed offensive rebounds that they got, like the Kyle Lowry one, game changer. You know, that bounce in, like if that doesn't go in, overtime, who knows who wins? So, I mean, those two teams are a lot closer than I thought, and they're both ahead of Milwaukee, which I didn't think either. So, I mean, I was wrong on that. But Kawhi Leonard's beat some really good teams, and I'm really interested. I'm really interested for this series.
If he does pull this off and he does win, man, it is going to go down as one of the better, you know, obviously behind Dirk for sure, but one of like the better runs we've seen through a playoff and win, like, you know, just really unexpected, right? I mean, props to Dougie Fresh. He said it, you know, you said it early on. You had Toronto all year. So, but most people didn't, you know, and so for him to get here, and if he can pull it off, like, I mean, I still won't like the dude, but you got to give him props, man. Straight up, the dude's a baller on both ends of the floor, and, you know, closing in on, you know, I don't want to give it to KD or give him over KD because, dude, KD's injured. You can't pass somebody out being injured, you know. If you go out and KD's able to play, and Kawhi balls out and beats KD, and KD misses some moments and does some things where you're like, oh man, KD just didn't have the greatest series. All right. But damn, bro, he doesn't even have a chance to back himself up, and you guys are already going to put Kawhi above him. Like, the dude was balling out of control before, right? And in round 1, it was KD's the best player in the world. Yeah. So it's like,
but there's definitely something to be said for the people that are saying because KD's injured, Kawhi is the best player in the playoffs, you know, or through these
and
last
the fact
series.
That he beat, and the fact that what he did to Giannis, because both, you know, Pete and I had Giannis number 2 for sure, and a lot of people, you know, some people even had Giannis as number 1, and that's what I'm talking about, being able to beat the dude. Now that he's beat Giannis, you can't really say Giannis is better than him. It's not fair to him, you know. And so I definitely have Kawhi as the number 2 player in the world right now, which I wasn't even close to having at the regular season. Beginning of the year, I would not have put Kawhi maybe even in my top 5 quite yet, obviously. Yeah. So to have number 2 now is props to him.
And with all that time that he misses during the season, I mean, not only is it infuriating, like you said, and we've talked about that before, but then, it's doubled up where it's like, you don't want to put him up there in that upper echelon because he doesn't play enough. And also, since he doesn't play enough, you hardly see him enough to say, oh, yeah, that's right, night in and night out. He plays like this. This is how he is.
Right.
I mean, it's changed my view on him a lot. I always liked him just fine. I remember, when he broke out and was finals MVP and stuff. Kawhi is awesome.
Yeah.
But I just didn't really care all that much until following Toronto this postseason and watching him, when he needs to, just put the team on his back, or when he can, distributing it, defending like a boss, and and at some points that robotic play or whatever really doesn't even matter when he just is super strong, gets to the rim and makes some great acrobatic play and stuff like that and lays it in. It's like you forget about how kind of boring he was before. And then never complaining about calls or anything like that either.
Yeah,
that's big.
Yeah, I like that about him too. I'm with you on that. How he doesn't complain about calls.
I think he's probably the least whiny superstar in the league.
No, that's true. That's huge. I think the thing that scares me too is just that you touched on like just where our league's going with dudes sitting, because now everyone's like, "Well, see,
yeah,
Kawhi
look how
sat
fresh
all
he
year,
is.
and now look how fresh Kawhi is."
I was thinking the same thing.
Should
Now
Dame
this is gonna
sit
become
15, 20 games a year? We just want them to be
Stupid.
good in the playoffs. That's all that matters. And it's like, well, fucking stop playing the regular season then. Drop it down to 30 games, call it a day, and let's get to the playoffs.
This playoffs has felt kind of long, honestly.
For sure, right? So it's like, why are we playing 82 games, but we want our star players now to sit out 20, 25 games so we can get these runs through for Kawhi? It's like, that's not what I want to see, man. And I don't know. I'm scared because I think that's the direction our league's going to go. And it's the direction that everyone else is going to have to go.
Yeah, because there's no way they're going to reduce the number of games when they have all this money from their TV contracts.
Well, because now these guys, too, are just going to be like, well, now I got to play against Kawhi, who's going to be fresh as hell because his franchise lets him sit all the time.
And see, and
so
that's
now
another
I got to
thing.
sit all the time, so I'm as fresh as him.
And does that factor
And
into
then
who's the best
players
player in the
league-
world?
Yeah.
Because you can play all 82 games or 75 and still be dominant.
Yeah.
You have to sit out 50.
Right?
You have to sit out and only play 60 games to be dominant in the postseason. So yeah, I agree. That's a great point, Pete.
Yeah.
It should.
That's
right?
what bothers me because it's like, I thought I was thinking
a
of
great
this, and
point.
it's just like, what if Greek got the same rest, the load management? Would he have been more dominant in that series, right? Would he
Yeah.
have? Instead of going for the MVP and
And at the same time, a big advantage that Toronto has right now is the fact that they won so many games in the regular season, even without Kawhi. I mean, they have home court against the Warriors in the finals.
Wait, are we talking about the Raptors that have no help?
Yeah, right.
Right, for
Yeah, because
real.
that's such a great team that he could rest and they could get their wins. With this whole rest culture, some places would take it too far.
Yeah.
Like some teams that LeBron has been on or something, or people resting where it's like, well, as long as we get in, then we'll be rested, we'll make our way through. If you come in as the fourth seed or something like that, when it comes down to it, that home court could play a big role.
For sure.
Especially, in the finals like it is right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge. We'll see. I'm really curious to see is you touched on too, Pete, with just like not being able to quantify the things that Draymond does. It's like, dude, he's made me. I hate the dude so much, but there's a lot of things he does that are just like so impressive. I'm just curious to see what his impact's gonna be. Kawhi defensively, we talked a little bit about the defensive scheme here, Pete. What do you do with Kawhi? Like, so who does Kawhi cover? Who does he help off of? Like, what do you do? Different situations, maybe. Do you switch him on to somebody in the fourth if they're getting hot and let him just guard Curry the whole time? Like, what would you do there?
Oh man, I would get real creative, right? Let's say, you put Kyle Lowry and Danny Green. You got to take turns chasing around Curry. Mm-hmm. You can't just say one guy's going to guard Curry the whole game because it's just going to be
It's just
gassed.
not possible.
Yeah. So let's say you put a combination of like Danny Green, Lowry on Curry, right? Switching off, guarding him. I would put Kawhi Leonard on whatever center, whatever big is in there.
Yeah.
You know?
He did great guarding Giannis.
Dude, I think this would be the best defense, right? This is what I would have done if, like, let me just give you an example for Portland, right?
Yep.
I would have put Collins or whoever on Iggy, right? Mm-hmm. So you got the center basically standing in between the basket and the corner player, right? That's standing in the corner. That's Iggy's role. Iggy, where Iggy makes you pay is what happens is they force the center to come up on the roller, or they force the guy in the corner to come up on the roller and help, right?
Right.
Well, Iggy's not a great shooter, but he's been hitting one. And when he's not hitting, what he does is he just cuts in and catches an oop, right? Because now it's 2-on-1. So in my head, it would have been smart to have, like, let's say Zach Collins there, right? So now you could put your best defender on the center, which would be Looney or Draymond, right? Or whoever's running the pick, and then he could switch off to Curry, right? And people will say, oh, well, that means whoever's guarding Curry, which would be Lillard, will have to pick up the big. No. What he does is he sticks to the wing. He bounces off to the wing, and
Collins would come up.
Collins will take the big. The guy on the wing, so Dame will take the wing. The guy on the wing will drop to the corner and pick up Iggy. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That would be the best rotations. I'm telling you, that shit would work, bro. And then now you have your center in the paint. Right? So when the roller comes in, the center's there. So now if there's an oop, he can jump up and tip it, whatever. When it's a small forward coming to help, he can't tip that oop. That Draymond throws or anything.
It. So if you're talking with Kawhi, basically your game plan, which I see exactly where you're going. So you have Kawhi on the big. So then when the big comes and sets the screen, Kawhi is now covering
Curry with the lower shot clock. Because now he's been running around. Mm-hmm. The screen, usually the screen comes, that's when the shot clock's down to 12. So now you got your best defender on Curry. And he didn't chase him around, so he has energy, right? Yeah. He doesn't have to worry about anyone rolling because he knows his big's going to pick up the roller. I thought that would have been sick, right? If Portland done that, you're kind of visioning in your head. You're like, damn, that would have been dope, right?
I get exactly what you're saying because it's like...
Now you don't have the big helping off the screen.
Yeah.
Now Curry's not getting that open three.
Defender. It's almost like if you would have had... And I texted DZ about this and asked his opinion, but it would almost be like... having Aminu just play the 5, or if you had Harkless just cover the big.
Harkless is what I wanted. Remember I told you? Put Harkless on the big.
Yep.
Let him left-right it. Now they're left-righting the screen. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because now they're both high. They're not worried about the roller. Yeah. The roller comes, the center's there. Yeah. And now the center's protecting the paint. Everyone, rotates accordingly.
Well, because, too, at the end of the day, too, is if you think about it, Mo covering Looney, you're not giving anything away. Like people think, like,
he can't post him up.
Mo can't cover the 5. It's like, dude, you can't. If they want to give the ball,
even
to
Draymond,
yeah,
because it's not like Draymond can post him or do anything.
No.
He's not a great. They're not.
He's not going to shoot it in his face from out there either.
If anything, they want to try to go inside and give it to Looney or Bogut or Draymond or anything. That's a win for you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Like Looney trying to go one-on-one against Harkless is a win, even though he's way bigger. That dude's going to
now here, let me say this. Now this is where Cousins' value comes in.
Yeah.
Because if it's Cousins setting the screen, say they did run that defense that I want them to run it, which I think is the answer to beating the Warriors, and I'm sure you agree, right?
You have
hearing
to
it out.
Cousins.
You have Cousins. It's different now because now when he rolls, he can take a smaller guy, and if the big guy comes on him, he can post him up. So you'll still get a good play out of it. Yeah. But when it's Looney or Draymond,
Lowry on Cousins or something like that.
Yeah, but even the big, you still feel comfortable with Cousins 1-on-1 in the paint.
It'd be interesting
dropping it down to him.
If they do that, it'll be interesting to see what the Warriors would do because it'd be like if Steph's got the ball, it'd be like, do I want Looney to come set a screen? Because I'm pretty sure that's Kawhi on Looney. So now Kawhi is going to be on me. No, I'd rather attack my guy than attack your guy.
Yeah.
Because usually it is, right?
That's exactly
You see Steph cook, it's like, all right, get me on a big and I'll make him work. But it's like, I think I'd rather attack Lowry than attack Kawhi. Like, that don't sound like fun. So I think a lot more action would have to come from other guys in that series, right? If they did do that. There'd have to come a lot more movement off the ball, which the Warriors are also good at, but a lot more of that would happen rather than just Steph coming off a screen and knocking down a 3.
And you got to confuse... A lot of it too is just one thing I was watching Draymond do, which was fucking just so beautiful against the Rockets, and it relates to 2K. It's crazy. I know. He would
the basketball game.
He would act like, dude. He would act like he's going at Harden. So Harden would run the pick and roll, right? Harden would get in, Draymond would be the rotating guy. He would act like he's going at Harden and then sprint backwards, and literally Harden would throw a pass and he would just jump up and steal it. It's like it's such a lost art, and it's, to me, the best defensive players in the world, only the best defensive players in the world can do it, which is showing. You show enough to make the guy think you're committing to him, but you're really never intending to go to him. And he would just deflect those passes to Capella and make so many plays that way. Well, I feel like Ibaka has to take a page out of that book, because it'd probably be Ibaka, and pretend you're going to go up to Curry, force or whoever, the roller, Draymond, when he catches the ball thinking he's going to throw an oop to Iggy, help your defender out. Don't always commit to him. Mm-hmm. Make Draymond hit those floaters. Force him to go to the rim. Show on him and back up and, tip those passes out. Stuff like that. Because when you show, it's huge, man. It's I'm telling you, Draymond is so good at it, at showing and just making you think he's committing to you. Because, everything is so quick. It's like bang, bang, bang. When you throw those little oops, you got to hit that shit like he hits you, the guy rotates, you throw it up,
Right.
And if you could get him off, thinking that you're doing that, you could really confuse them, and it would be real interesting.
It is going to be interesting, man. Another chess match.
And that's what's funny about these things, dude. It's like we talk about these, and it's like, in your head, you see the personnel, what has to happen, but you don't know if they're going to go out there and execute that, right? So it's like I like Toronto if they do that. Yeah. Now they come out there and I'm watching fucking Marc Gasol try to guard Curry. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Warriors. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to change my pick.
Yeah.
So it's
you just never know what they're going to do.
You just don't know what they're going to do, bro. So
break down.
You know how it is. I'm sure you didn't expect watching Canner sag off Curry like that. I know it had to be hard for you.
That was the most embarrassing thing. I couldn't even watch the fourth quarter of that game, dude, because it just never changed.
It just sucks, right? It's like in your head, you're like,
I don't understand it, especially that. Like, there's some coaching tweaks that, I don't understand sometimes, and I feel like you make some great points, and I'm like, yeah, I would have rather seen that. But this was one, like, I'm pretty sure my daughter was watching the game and being like, God damn it, Terry! You're like, dude, I know, Olivia, all right? What the hell's going on? Like, that was like the most obvious thing I've ever seen. Like, even if you don't play basketball and you watch it and you're like,
no, dude, when your girl, I bet you are, like when people's old ladies are like, is that how they're supposed to guard Curry? That looks easy.
Yeah.
I think I could hit that.
You're like, God. Christ. Yeah, man, it's confusing. So then Iggy, you put Iggy on Kawhi, right?
Yeah, they're going to have
the Warriors. Iggy's going to have to cover Kawhi, right?
A combination of Iggy, and I'm sure they're going to throw Draymond at him at times. That's the thing that sucks with no KD. It's one long body to guard a small. See, that's the thing. They haven't had an elite small forward, which I feel is their one weakness.
What do you mean? Momo's elite?
So they haven't really faced an elite small forward or elite forwards like Siakam. Just a team that's got long finishers. That can cover up people with their long arms, late contest these shooters and still have an impact.
Well, the last time that Kawhi met up with the Warriors in the playoffs, he just got that one game in, right, before being injured when he was playing with the Spurs.
Oh, you mean the year he won the championship?
Yeah, but I mean, where it was just he was really
he was balling though.
Really
You're
balling
right.
out against him, big time. And we just didn't get to see.
I mean, that's another way they could win. They could just have Bogut put his foot under Kawhi.
Savage.
Oh man,
savage.
You're gonna take one for the team here. No problem.
Yeah, done it before.
Oh man.
Yeah, it'll be fun, man. This is gonna be, I think, a funner series than especially if KD's not playing. I mean, I know nobody wants to hear that, but
wow.
I think there's going to be some impact here, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I've been wrong about Portland, and we'll see. I like the small forward aspect.
Rip City.
Mm-hmm. So if KD's in there, I mean, then it's just over. Easy for you. It's just over. Well, because it's funny, the switch that has been made, of course, since KD was injured, and then the Warriors just go on a tear. And of course, that's all people talk about. They always have to make sure they backpedal and say, well, I mean, but of course they're better with KD. Because it's like, how can you not be better with KD? But they're playing better without him because they're more focused or whatever you want to say it is. Or because Draymond pulls the stick out of his ass. because KD's not playing and he just really lights it up. But
That's the thing is,
what could Toronto possibly do if KD's there?
Well,
you wonder. But then it's like, well, what did the Clippers do to get 2 games on them?
Basically, what would have to happen, I feel like, is the Warriors, for some reason, the rest of their players would have to go back to where they just watch KD. They don't move off the ball. They don't do the Warriors basketball that they're supposed to do. Because if Steph and Clay are running around like crazy and KD's going ISO and finding dudes just popping off of screens or just attacking dudes one-on-one, then it's over 100%. But if for some reason all of a sudden Clay stands in the corner for 25 seconds and doesn't move once because KD's got the ball on the block, if that shit happens and Kawhi for some reason has some crazy defensive series, then it could become more of a series. But if KD's on top of his game and, like you're saying, the Warriors play with the focus they still have been playing with, it would definitely be over. I don't get that, man. I don't get why the Warriors still didn't do the same stuff. Because a lot of the things that they do great, right, would be unbelievable to watch with KD on their team. Like, if they still ran the same rotations, but now you have KD playing as like a point forward, that team would be like, they should never lose. But it's like all of a sudden they don't want to run that stuff.
Well, a lot of it too is, okay, so think about this. Just think about this, right? The reason why I say small forwards are very important, right, is because it's a matchups game, right? Mm-hmm. So when they played the Rockets, you got Chris Paul and Harden chasing around Steph and Clay. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're right. They run around like crazy, dude. It is tiring. They're like it's like chasing a cheetah around. I agree. No argument there. Damon and CJ chased around Steph and Clay, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of energy there. When you have a small forward, guess who's not chasing them around? The small forward. So now Kawhi Leonard, energy-wise, where's he going to be at? He didn't chase Curry around the entire game. If it was Greek Freak, he's not chasing Curry around the entire game. So now you're getting way better offensive production from that guy because he didn't, it's his teammates that are putting the energy chasing Curry around. And now, so when he has the ball on offense, you should see a better product. Right. Whereas when it's guards, you're right, dude. When you're chasing Curry and Clay around, now you're asked to go make a play. That shit's tiring. But Kawhi shouldn't be asked to do as much as Dame was because he's not going to be guarding Curry 24/7 running around.
Unless KD comes back, then he's being asked to do a lot
more. That's where KD's value comes.
Exactly.
Bingo. Now with KD, Kawhi has to guard KD. He uses energy. Now he sucks more on offense. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because he's using more energy on defense. Dude, the best way to stop a great player is to tire him out, when he's on defense, in my opinion. If you ever watch any great player like kind of fall apart, it's usually because their legs got tired. Well, your legs get tired when you're playing both ends really hard,
Or even over the course of a series, you look at, it's funny, you look back at all the great game 7s and stuff, and you look at box scores, it's like everyone shot like shit. Yeah, everyone's tired, and stuff.
I think my biggest mistake is trying to pick a pair of guards over the Warriors guards. Mm-hmm. They got the best guard duo. That was my mistake. I kind of, watching CJ ball out, I got a little like mirage, of like, wow, man, maybe these two can be better than those two. All right, I was wrong. I'll own it. But I got to see them beat an elite small forward for me. Because to me, this is their LeBron. Yeah. This is their LeBron series.
Yeah.
Go win it. You're going against LeBron. One of the best small forwards in the game. A dominant small forward. And you guys didn't have no answer for him, really. It was a good, compelling series, which is what I think it's going to be. But who's going to win?
Well, a big reason I feel like that, like Cleveland back in 2016, you can stay in the game against these Warriors teams, is if you have to make your decision on how you're rebounding. Are you going to try to grab those boards? Are you going to try to grab offensive rebounds? Guys like Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love really made a huge difference just by slowing things down, getting more possessions and stuff, and you just run the risk of every once in a while, the Warriors are going to get out in transition or something. But I think that's going to happen regardless. And seeing that, last night, Game 6, Kawhi Leonard had 17 fucking rebounds.
It's crazy.
And, I mean, you could just see every time when they pulled down an offensive board, I'm like, man, they're just that much closer to winning this game.
Against
and
a
they were
really
losing
good
for
rebounding team,
Yeah,
too. The Bucks are a really good rebounding team.
And that's another advantage I think Toronto has is they're going to be a better rebounding team.
Yeah, you have
sure.
to
I don't
really
know, man, it's
capitalize
so tough.
on that.
I really don't know what's going to happen in this series. I'm real curious because I see so many things like, you know, and then watching Toronto, like, they're always making adjustments. It's like, boom, Kawhi Leonard on Jimmy Butler. Boom, Kawhi Leonard. Like, you know, if the coach isn't waiting, that's huge.
Right.
If he sees something and he's like, no, I don't like this. I'm with Kawhi Leonard on this guy or whatever. I like that, man. I hate when coaches wait 5-6 games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then we're like, oh, he finally did it. Sweet. We said this like 4 games ago. Me and Corey were just saying the coach should do this. And then he finally does it. And it works.
They finally caught up on their podcast feed. They were listening to the show.
Right.
That's how
It takes them a
works.
little bit, for sure.
Yeah. They're
I'm
on
glad
the
we're finally
road.
helping.
I mean, it's probably easier us just watching the TV, you know, than it is for a coach. But
What? No.
I really don't understand how some of those mistakes can happen, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, let's
we get back to talking about Portland, or?
Oh yeah. So no.
Oh, all right.
But
I didn't know if that was going to be.
Portland
I didn't
for a
know if that
while.
was on the podcast or not. You know,
It was on last week's podcast.
didn't give me a chance. All right. Whatever, guys. What else is on the docket then, Dougie? Is that it or what?
Well, let's just make a prediction about Game 1, just for fun. It's so far off. I've got all this time. Just something simple like Game 1. Corey, who do you think is going to lead both teams in scoring? Who's going to score the most Game 1?
Game 1. It's tough. I'm gonna go Steph.
Steph?
No.
What do you think, Pete?
I think Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi? Yeah. Just watch. It's going to be Klay Thompson.
They could
Getting
be.
that,
Could be, dude.
that
I mean,
all-
Could be.
no, I
Getting
don't
that
think any of us
snub.
have bet our houses on
Getting that
this.
snub. Yep. Oh no, you didn't. You didn't
No.
think you were betting your house on this?
No.
So you got Clay?
Yeah, I'll take Klay. All right.
You got Clay.
Who's gonna lead both teams in rebounding?
Probably Kawhi.
What do you think, Pete?
Man, that's tough. I'll say Draymond.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that's
You got
what I was
Klay
gonna
again?
say. Yeah, I'm gonna say Kyle Lowry.
Who usually in assists? Clay. Sure, buddy.
I think Klay is gonna take this whole game over.
Who's gonna have the most dribbles? Clay. Dribbles 6 times a game.
Yeah, and he's gonna have 11 steals. Well, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens. Game 1. I'm stoked. We're into the home stretch
So who wins Game 1
Man, I want to
in Toronto.
in Toronto?
I'm gonna say Toronto.
Okay. Dougie?
It's Golden State.
Golden
They're
State
gonna win
Game
on the
1.
road. Yeah.
I think Golden State.
Toronto
wins Game 1 as
doesn't
well.
hardly ever wins Game 1. They've been
Right.
doing better this season with Kawhi, but it's going to come back to haunt them.
Yeah, we'll see, man. That'll be interesting. I don't know. I got this weird feeling Toronto hit their climax like Portland did when they beat Denver. I feel like we got to
Yeah.
our first finals. We've
Could be.
accomplished more than we expected to. We're so excited. The crowd's on like cloud 9, the highest of the high, and just I don't know. I don't think these boys are ready and to go against a championship team that's
Yeah.
used to being here and used to the stuff that they're supposed to do. And they've, as much as we hate on them for blowing a 3-1 lead, we talk a lot about the things that you go through when you lose and the adversity and the things that the learning experiences you get. And they've been through those moments too. So they've been
Yeah.
champions. They've been knocked down. That I just feel like they're battle tested, and I think that they get Game 1 for sure.
Yeah, and regardless of how it ends up, I mean, congrats, to the Toronto fan
Oh,
base
man.
and stuff. That's so cool. I always love it
The
when
owner looks like a genius right
someone-
now.
Yeah, he
Right?
does.
Seriously.
Yeah.
DeRozan's sitting in his room crying right now. Oh my
How hard is
God.
it got to be for that dude? You got to be sitting there like,
Man.
man, I'm such a buster.
Yeah. That's tough, man. That's too bad. I mean, for him. I mean, good for
Wow.
Toronto fans,
yeah, good
right?
for Toronto, making their first finals appearance.
Until
That's cool.
what happens. Until they lose the finals and Kawhi still bounces on their ass and then they're
Ooh.
back to their normal square one.
There's a prediction for you. Like, if
It'll be
Toronto wins the title, I mean, Kawhi has
God.
to stay, right?
If they win the title, that would
Do you think he'd still leave?
Dude, if KD doesn't play, bro, there is a legit shot. It's crazy to think about. I
It
know.
is crazy.
It's weird. I'm with you, but
Well, do you think do you think Kawhi would stay then? If they win the title? Or then does he also say, hey, check it out, got you a title. Now, peace.
Man.
It's tough.
It's
I mean,
so
they just
hard.
beat the number 1 ranked defense in the league.
Right.
So they're going to be going to get... You got to think about that as like, if you liked what you saw from them, think they're going to be playing a worse defense than they did.
It's so hard. I mean, nobody knows what Kawhi Leonard thinks. That's the tough part, right? Kawhi doesn't really feed into anything. He doesn't talk about anything. Like, so we don't know what Kawhi values. Because in our eyes, you just want to win championships, right? Like you're in Toronto, you have a great chance of getting back to a championship. Why wouldn't you sign? But I put this in the group text the other day. It's like, you don't know what he values. Like, can he stand the snow, or is he like, because it's just like any of us, right? With jobs and locations and things like that. Like, there's places where we're just like, man, screw this. I would not live there. There's no way I could survive the snow when I could have a chance. You know what I mean? If they said, like, Corey, you can go be an iron worker, make the same money here or here, and we got you a job and your whole family and everything you love is on the beach and somewhere I love, it'd be like, man, do I really want to be in the snow, or I can't even go outside for 8 months of the year? But then at the same time, I don't know if Kawhi Leonard even values any of that. Like, I don't know what he values, because like I said the other day.
Are you talking about if he wins? You're saying
if he wins, do you think he would stay?
Here's the huge difference, in my opinion. You're talking about there is a difference. He's right with the weather and all that stuff, but here's the huge difference. He becomes a legend now everywhere he goes. Come in, Mr. Leonard. You run Canada. You're a god here, bro. You brought us a title in your first year. He becomes a god. So like now it's like, damn, do I want to leave this place where I am a god to these people?
But
we don't go somewhere else.
But the same thing I'm saying, we don't know what Kawhi Leonard values. Does he like being that guy? Because Kawhi Leonard's the quietest dude. Like, does he even want people to like patting him on the back everywhere he goes? Like, some dudes would value that, some wouldn't. So it's
that's true. What I'm saying is you have to have that factor in there if we're talking about him winning. That now, Drake, everyone, they're writing rap songs about him. You know, he's like, he'll be the man in Canada. Like, and all of the people will respect him. Out here, if he goes somewhere else, it just sucks, dude, because he created so much history there.
Yeah.
That Game 7 winner.
Imagine if that's the reason he ends up leaving. He's like, you know what? When it comes down to it, I just fucking can't stand that guy Drake.
Well, the thing is too is like what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's leaving 100%. Like, I'm not saying if they lose, he's gone 100%, or if they win, I still think he's gone. I'm not saying either or. All I'm saying is, people are saying if he wins a finals, it's 100% he's staying in Toronto.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't believe that yet. I don't know if that's the fact. But I'm not saying I think he's for sure going to LA, because there's people out there that are like, he's for sure still going to LA. I'm not on either side. I just don't know what the hell the dude values. We don't even know anything about it. We know that he's a fun guy. That's all we know, right?
I'm a fun guy.
I don't.
So
I'm just like you.
Know what I mean?
I don't think anything's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think if he wins, I think the percentages lean towards staying.
I would think
leaning towards staying.
That a loss at the same time, you could look at it and think that the finals loss could be that motivation to re-sign. That's what happened to Paul George.
Yeah,
where
so
it's like, it felt like we left stuff on the table.
If they lose in 6 or 7, the only time we're gonna hear like, oh, Kawhi Leonard needs to leave is if they get embarrassed, swept off the floor, something like that.
Gosh, man.
Even
it depends on what he.
Man.
Yeah,
it's so funny because like I said, I just don't know what the dude likes.
And he already has a title. He already has a Finals MVP.
Because when he was leaving San Antonio, right, he basically said he wants to be in LA 100%.
Yeah.
Right? So has that changed this year?
I never heard him say it.
I mean, that's what all the reports had said, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it could be wrong. We don't know. That's the thing. We have no idea. You're right. We don't know. I would hope he would stay in Toronto. I think, like Pete's saying, to have a whole country behind you.
Yeah.
You would think he should want to stay in Toronto, but a lot of these, like we saw with Vince and T-Mac, and they had the same treatment, and they were heartbroken when then those boys left Toronto, but they said it's the similar reasons. Like, they were like, dude, when I was in Toronto, I could never leave my house. I was freezing balls. So I don't know. I don't know what.
Yeah, but our hypothetical guess is coming off
New York.
We gotta remember, there's a difference. Our hypothetical guess is. I asked, is this coming off a championship win?
Right.
If Vince won a championship in Toronto, we don't know if he would have stayed there the rest of his career.
You're right. We don't know, and we don't know now. So we won't know until it happens. If it happens,
I think if he wins, the percentages. If like it's just, dude, everything we're doing is guessing. So
for sure, 100%.
If I had to bet. If he wins, I would bet that he stays.
Okay.
If I had to bet money.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't bet my kid on it, you know, like or my house. You know, I'm just like my unborn child.
I'll bet.
But I'm saying
house
that,
on it.
Right?
You know, if I had to bet, you know, a gun to my head,
You would say he would stay.
if he won a championship, I'm going to say he's going to stay. Okay. That's where I would lean my bet
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, and you would lean it with him going still if he wins.
Fuck, dude. I don't know.
Gun to your head. They win the title. Is he going to stay?
Yeah, you can only pick one. See, that's where it's hard. That's the best way to look at things because.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know either way. People think I'm saying he's going, but I'm not saying he's going.
Gunda was to your head. You just got shot, bro.
Yeah, I have no idea, man. I don't know either
It'll be
way.
Fun, dude.
I'm 50-50 if he wins. I'm 50-50 if he loses, to be honest.
So the finals could be great, and the off season could be great too. So
oh my god, life is about to be.
I can't wait till the summer, man.
I know, I'm ready, bro.
Till next year. I'm ready for all that to happen, dude.
Well, I see KD
I can't
80.
wait to see where KD goes. Yeah, it's true.
I don't know if I'm excited about that, but whatever. It'll be cool, I guess.
Well,
because I mean, dude, them getting that number 3 pick is huge.
You know,
people think that's such a bad thing, but it's not.
It's so funny to watch like Stephen A. and other Knicks guys. Like they talk like they lost Zion in free agency, dude. Right?
Yeah.
Dude, this is ridiculous. Like, bro, you had a 14% chance to win, which means 86% said you weren't going to get first, and they're like, "This is rigged." No, bitch. That's what the numbers say.
Even Chris
believe
Vernon,
we lost Zion.
Chris Vernon was saying, he's like, man, it doesn't matter how it happened. The conspiracy theorists will always have the theory to back it up. He's like, if fucking Grizzlies had won, it'd be like, oh yeah, well the NBA definitely wanted Conley to stay there or something, you know.
So true.
It is kind of funny though how every team that wins is always the team that's like losing their star. You know,
right?
Yeah,
it's like LeBron bounces, Cleveland gets 3 number 1 picks.
That's
like we got you, dog. We know
that's the conspiracy. Yeah. They're trying to keep.
So that's
AD
another question
there.
right there. We haven't really touched on. What's your guys' opinions? Does this make AD potentially stay in New Orleans or no? Still 100% wants to be out.
I heard he wants out. There were some burned bridges or some shit, but
I don't even think they should want to keep him. Fuck that. You know,
I would. I'd keep him. I'd be telling him,
dude,
yo, we got a big 3 right now.
Zion, Drew, and freaking, oh my gosh, AD.
Yeah.
Like, you think about that combination, man. You would, but that's another thing. We don't know what the dude values.
Do you have
like, if
AD
you value
playing
winning,
100%, or does he even care?
But that's the thing.
He doesn't want to be there.
Is AD just leaving because he wants to win? Because if that's the only reason he wants out, then he shouldn't be wanting to leave at this point. Because
and
he's
they
got
brought
a great
in a new
opportunity.
GM. They have David Griffin there now too.
If AD bounces, man, you would think that
I'd blow it up.
You would think that the Pelicans would want New York's pick. Yep. It'd make the most sense. You reunite Zion and RJ.
Mm-hmm. If AD's for sure going to end up leaving you, I would definitely be doing everything in my power to trade AD right now for the most assets. And in all honesty, I would probably trade Drew as well, in my opinion. Because what you're now going to be able to accomplish if you do some of those is you're going to have Zion on a rookie contract. Let's say you get another pick on a rookie contract. You get a couple young dudes from somewhere still on a rookie contract. It would be like unbelievable. But what would be the point of keeping Drew, I guess, at that contract with those dudes? Because I don't think Zion and like Barrett are going to bring them a championship.
Oh, well, Drew, it just depends though, because say they trade AD, right?
Right.
You now get that cap space, so now you can re-sign Randall, right?
Yep.
You can, let's say they get RJ. I mean RJ at the 1, Drew at the 2, Zion, Randall. Yep, pretty formidable lineup. I mean, I'm not saying championship, but they would be in the hunt for playoffs.
Still have a solid squad.
They would have a solid squad. You know, you get some shooters around them.
God, can this offseason just come, dude? There's so many storylines that I'm like, what's going to happen here?
I think New York's going to trade the 3 pick for AD.
Yeah?
It just, dude. I mean, that was my guess when I first seen that New York got 3. I was like, they were in a win-win situation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This is what I thought. They get the 1 pick, they take Zion, and you pair up Zion with KD. If they get 2, 3, you trade for AD.
Do you think the Pelicans would do it just for the 3 pick? Think they would trade AD?
Yeah, what else does New York have, though?
Well, I mean, they'll probably throw
something in there, and
they'll probably throw them like DSJ, Knox, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I would.
It'd be a package, but the main piece would be the 3. And there's a huge difference between 3 and 4. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, oh, the Lakers are going to get AD. Well, there's 3 headline players in this draft. So with the 3 pick, you're guaranteed to get one of them. Most likely, you're going to get his teammate. Now, Zion, if you want to make Zion happy, and he was really close to RJ, that's huge. And honestly, Zion probably has the pull right now to go in there and tell them what's cracking. Like, yo, if you're going to trade AD, get my boy, RJ. And
if you don't, then I want to be gone too.
I'm going back to Duke.
Right?
Oh, damn.
I mean, let's be real.
Could you imagine?
Zion can say whatever he wants right now.
You're right.
Like, seriously. He can say whatever he wants. We agree. Even though he's on a rookie deal, because they want to keep him forever. Yeah, so it's like...
Right.
They're going to do whatever it takes to make him happy. If he walks in that office right now, I guarantee you, and he goes, trade AD to New York and get pick 3 and get my boy RJ.
I feel like that's just not something he'd do, though. He's just about the basketball. Is how it's been so far. He just really wants to play basketball.
If you get drafted to a place you don't want to be, you go there and you tell them what you want, in my opinion. It's like, I don't want to be here. I didn't want to be in this place. So we're going to do things my way. You know,
he kind of said beforehand, though. I mean, he had conflicting reports, but he had one from him saying, like, "Man, I really wouldn't mind starting off in a small market or something where it isn't so huge." And everyone's like, "What?" Like the opposite of New York. But then other camps saying that he wanted to be in New York. New Orleans almost.
That's
seems
the
like
politically correct answer, bro. That's what I hate. Media, because then people have to answer questions like that, and you don't get their real fill. You know what I mean?
Well, it's just a legitimate question. Like, what, some guys prefer to be in those. They could be the man for a whole city, like a smaller thing, or prefer to play in a place like Cleveland or Portland.
No, it is a legitimate question. You're not listening. You're not hearing me out though.
My point is New York or LA.
My point is, because the media twist shit, he didn't give you a legitimate answer.
Yeah, he
didn't give you what he was really feeling.
Right.
He gave you the politically correct answer, which is every person should say, I will play for any team that drafts me, and I love any city, blah, blah, blah. That's the politically correct answer.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, that's a different case. That's not what I was talking about, though.
But I'm saying, like, that it just sucks that, because you're bringing it up, and it's a good point what you're bringing up. He did say that. I've seen it.
I mean,
but the point I'm making is
at Duke, too. I mean,
it's just, I don't think it's legitimate. Like, I just don't think he really
could have pulled a bunch of shit after the thing at Duke. We all talked about whether he should even play, and of course he went back and he played, and he wants to play basketball. He's drafted in the NBA. He's going to go play. Seems like a good kid.
Can we get back to Portland?
So what kind of package can Portland put together to get the number 1 pick and
Damian Lillard,
land Zion?
Damian Lillard plus.
It would have to be CJ.
David CJ. Here you go.
Throwing Myers Leonard.
They couldn't, man. There's nothing Portland can do.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not talk about them then.
It's just it's gonna be fun, dude. I think the Knicks are gonna trade pick 3.
Who gets Seth Curry this year? It's a good question because it ain't gonna be Portland.
He's a good player.
Unfortunately, Portland. There's zero chance of getting him back. Literally zero.
I'm sure, dude. If I'm KD, Seth Curry is a guy I'm recruiting. Seriously, yo, come play for the Knicks.
Yeah,
come on, dude. I watched Seth. I don't see him far off as a starting point guard.
No,
I'm not saying like he'd be a Dame Lillard,
right?
But he'd be a great Derek Fisher to KD. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the complimentary, space it, can bring it up, but does you're not asking him to do everything. I feel like he'd be a good player. I think he's a better defender than Curry.
Yeah.
Sure. Watching him play I thought he played Curry the best out of everybody. I mean, granted, he has the advantage of he probably knows his brother.
Played
a lot of one-on-one, I'm sure,
Fun to watch for sure.
He played really well defensively. I was really impressed with him this year.
And that's exactly why I'm saying Portland doesn't have a chance to bring him back, because he really did. He showed himself,
You're right,
especially in the postseason. We just can't afford him. I mean, obviously I would love to keep him, but I mean, props to him. He's earned himself a contract.
His spacing alone, right?
Well,
is going to be worth money.
Yeah, so he's probably going to get paid, $10, $11 million a year or something like that, and Portland just doesn't have that. We paid him $1 million or something like that. $3 million
I got a team for you where Seth would be a better player than what they have right now. Put him in for Eric Bledsoe. Seriously.
The all NBA defensive team?
God, get out of here with that, right? I know, it's so stupid. No, but think about it. You try pinching off the wing with Seth Curry standing at the wing.
Yeah.
And now,
Yeah.
because Eric Bledsoe standing there, you can sag as far as you want. He ain't hit the 3-1, and then number 2, he's going to hesitate, think about it. But if you got Seth Curry there when Greek drives, that'll be huge help. Greek Freak needs some better sharpshooters. I hate to say it. He just needs some better shooting around him.
For sure. I agree.
Well, either way,
that was like a 3-hour pod, right?
Yep.
So let's
and
get
to
it.
top it all off, I mean,
I had to
the
get my
biggest
Blazers
story,
question, sorry.
Patrick McCaw is now going to his 3rd consecutive NBA Finals. Every year of his career.
Oh, my gosh.
NBA Finals. But we'll wrap it up there.
Who?
Pat McCaw.
Cares.
Yeah. Waiting for it.
All right, man. Let's wrap this stuff up, fellas. Well, another good pod. How many more we got going? Did you do this till the end of the finals?
Yeah.
Couple more?
We'll have
Take
a
a break
finals
or what?
wrap up, and then
Take a little
Seth
break.
Curry will headline our off-season acquisitions pod in the middle of the summer.
We'll be in Vegas at the NBA Summer League, right? Together?
Yeah, we're going to try
Get
to
some
do
media
that.
passes
Get
down
that
to
right.
Vegas.
Yep.
So, right on, fellas. Well, another good week. I guess we'll see what happens, man. This is going to be a fun finals. One without LeBron James.
Yep.
Let's do it. As
Okay.
always, Rip City.